might just say it, this is where I'm used to making speeches from and no one pays any attention to. Although it is the first time standing in the council chamber that I've spoken in front of a live audience, but I'm delighted to be here again. It is, I guess, according to Jason, it's the 6th year, and I want to say thank you to him and to all of you, because every time I've come, there is a shortage of seats in the council chamber, and I think that's a sign of the growth and the success of the tech ecosystem that has happened in the last number of years. You know, when I first became mayor, one of the first trips I made was down to San Francisco to try and recruit back some of the Canadians who'd been educated at Waterloo, U of T, Toronto Metropolitan University, and so on, and who'd gone to work there because, quite frankly, they'd been recruited, but also there just wasn't the opportunity here. And when I was down there, they told me all the reasons that they didn't think they'd come home just yet, but the two most prevalent were, number one, the weather, and number two, the lack of opportunity. And that has changed so much in those 8 years. It has changed so much in those 8 years, and I'm very gratified by that. But that's not because of me. I try to provide leadership and try to be a champion for the sector, but it's because of our fantastic educational system, our open immigration system, and the hard work of a lot of people in this room and elsewhere. And I, by the way, noticed I looked all around the room to see if there was anybody else wearing a tie. Anybody who owns tie stocks in this room, like stocks and tie companies, sell, short it immediately. But I'm going to give you other prize after this, which is a great evening. There's one guy with a tie right there. You wearing a tie? I said, that's fantastic. I just want to say thank you for that, because you know, you might be a little down or a little apprehensive right now, but if you think back, as I can do, to 1992, 93, 2002, 2008, we go through these cycles in the economy. And every time when we go through them, there's some pain. There's no question about that. There's some uncertainty. There's some anxiety. But we come out the other side where there is a premium place that should come out of these things on ingenuity and innovation. That's when there's a premium, because it's the sort of clever ideas that follow some of the difficulties to make sure that we can be strong. And it isn't just strong in tech, it's strong across the board. And if you noticed last week, Statistics Canada reported that there was huge job gains, contrary to expectations in October, 10 times higher than they forecasted. And I know, again, the very same Bank of Canada said the same day or the day before that we might go through some difficult times, in the next little while, with the interest rates being higher and so forth. But again, we'll bounce back. And you know why we'll bounce back? Because if you look at the raw materials of this city, the raw materials starting with the talent pool, because the tech companies that come from abroad to invest here, and did keep coming during the pandemic, those companies indicated the main reason they were here. Yes, they talked about the location proximate to the US, and they talked about the quality of life in Toronto, that's important. They talked about some cost advantages that they had here, but mostly they talked about the people, and that they came here knowing they could find people to fuel their businesses, just as we found the homegrown companies that have done so well here have fueled their businesses with people who were Torontonians or people from this region. And if you look, during the time of the pandemic, we had the Wattpads and the Rituals and the FreshBooks and the Wealth Simples and the Leagues and the Equities did quite well in many different respects. And I could go on, that's a short list, that's a handful of those companies. And at the same time, and I get into this debate all the time, where people say to me, well, as mayor, you should be spending more time supporting the local companies. Or they say, well, no, as mayor, you should be out there traveling around the world trying to get some of these global companies to come here. And I sort of say, well, the answer is neither of the above, the answer is both. And I have traveled around the world, not just to Silicon Valley, to get people to come here, but gone to different parts of the world to attract those companies to come here to Toronto and to bring with them some smart people, but also to employ a lot of Torontonians who are here. So if you look at some of what's happened over the last little while, Amazon has put in place an 8-floor office right across the street from, and you may think one thing or another about these companies. I look at it very simply. And I sort of say, look, if they are responsible corporate citizens, and that's in the broadest concept of corporate responsibility, and if they're going to employ a lot of Torontonians and contribute to our economic growth and well-being and invest in Toronto, then I'm for them. And I say that whether it's a domestic company or an international company. I don't distinguish. A job is a job is a job, and I want to make sure that they are responsible corporate citizens, and I do make an effort to do that. But I think it's important that Amazon, IBM, I was at their new 3-floor facility I think it's in the new CIBC building downtown. great space, great things they're doing, great brain power that they're hiring from among the pool of people that are here. And these are just some of the success stories that have happened in the last little while. So we've got to keep all that going. And I think the most important thing you can know as you meet here tonight and listen to some of the great presentations. I was reading the numbers, I forget what they are. There have been hundreds of presentations by entrepreneurs here and 22,000 people who sat where you're sitting. Some of you, I'm sure, repeat visitors to get into the sort of network. And I look at it also this way. It's confidence building. You know, when you're with each other, you're supporting each other, and we went through the pandemic doing that, it's confidence building. And everybody needs that. Everybody needs that, especially entrepreneurs need that. And so I just say, thank you for coming. Thank you for having the confidence that you do. Remember that the raw materials that made Toronto great in the tech space, where we weren't 8 years ago. We were not great. We were growing, we were coming on, but we were not great yet, to the point where I couldn't convince those people in Silicon Valley to come home in very large numbers. Now they're coming looking for opportunities here, because they can see the opportunities here. We've got to get the immigration doors open again properly. There's a backlog of smart people who want to come here. And that's another thing that should give you confidence. People from around the world and companies from around the world want to come here. They want to come here because it's a good place to do business, but it's also a good place to live. And if I had one responsibility that's mine during that point in time, is to make sure that we do our best. We have challenges, you know that, to do our best to maintain a good quality of life here that is in the top tier in the world. And that's challenging. You know, it's challenging with issues like mobility and different issues related to people getting around. It's challenging with respect to people experiencing homelessness and finding supply of adequate affordable housing. But those are the things that I'm focused on so that the economy can keep growing. I'll just mention two other things that we're doing here. We're, of course, looking forward to making sure we continue to host major events like Collision and Elevate. We're looking forward to the Waterfront TO RFP that just recently closed for a business plan for a new clean tech innovation hub for Villiers Island. I don't know if you've driven along the lakeshore to the east and you see all that construction going on there. It's an incredible billion-dollar project sponsored by all three governments to flood protect all that land there. But also, in the course of so doing, there's a brand new island being built there where I think some 20,000 people will live, and where there's going to be a lot of exciting economic activity going there right in the heart of downtown. And so one of the things we're doing there is to have a clean tech innovation hub so that we can have a home for people who are looking to innovate there, but also it's going to be Canada's largest climate positive neighborhood. And I'll mention one more thing, which is the Council's approval of the Toronto Business Incubation and Commercialization Grant. And it provides grants to incubators and accelerators to encourage them to grow and to thrive and to stay and to survive. And so these are things we're trying to do as a city government to create the right kind of environment. But you know what? More important than all of that, more important to all of that, is what's represented by the people in this room. And that is supporting each other, gaining support and confidence from being with each other and listening to these presentations and knowing what's possible in this city, and from making sure that you have the self-confidence to carry on, with knowing that your city government supports you. There's a whole ecosystem here that supports you, and that we're the best in the world for a reason. We're the best in the world for a reason. We've got the best people here, the best schools, the best tech ecosystem. We've got world-leading clusters of industry here, financial services, life sciences. I can go on down the list. Please have that confidence as we go through some uncertain times. I do, and I'm going to be out there making sure that we all do it, that we sell the city as a great place that it is to live, and to work, and to start a business, and to keep it going, and to grow it, and to do very well. So thank you very much, Jason, for you and your team having the initiative to be here. I appreciate it.